455, assign cookies, easy. Assume you're an awesome parent and want to give your children some cookies, but you should give each child at most one cookie. Each child I has a greed factor G sub I, which is the minimum size of a cookie that the child will be content with. And each cookie J has a size S sub J. If S sub J is greater or equal to G sub I, we can assign the cookie J to child I, and the child I will be content. Your goal is to maximize the number of content, number of your, oh, maximize the number of your content children and output the maximum number. You may assume that the greed factor is always positive. You can not assign more than one cookie to one child. Okay. I mean, given that this is easy and this is maybe a little meta and cheating or whatever, given this is easy, my guess is that it's probably a greedy algorithm. But let me just take a quick look for a second. I think my other kind of intuition, if it wasn't marked as easy, is that it's probably just some sort of maximal bipartite matching things. But I think this is actually, I mean, that would definitely solve the problem, but you probably don't need it. Cool. Let's take a look at kind of the example just in case I misread something. But you have three children and two cookies. The greed factor is three children are 1, 2, and 3. And even though you have two cookies, since their size is both 1, you can only make the child whose greed factor is 1 content. Okay. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. If two children, which one is the children? Oh, children is the first input. Okay. And 3 cookies. 2, 1, 2, big enough to grab out. Oh, you need output number 2. Okay. I mean, it seems like there's yeah, if we assume it is greedy, then you just it's just a linear scan, right? Wait, is this sorted? Well, yeah, I mean, you might have to do some sorting first, and then you just kind of walk. So yeah, so it'll be n log n. You do a sort, and then you just walk from big to small, and yeah, that's probably roughly right? Get the problem for a second. My app is crashing. Okay. Yeah, so I think for each cookie, we just find the greediest, maybe some pun intended, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's not even a pun. It's just a little bit confusing overloading of terms. But for each cookie, we just find the biggest greed number that a child has, and then just remove that. So I think yeah. So we could do that pretty quickly. Man, like that. Is this even right? Man, I really need to practice my Python often. I forget if that actually does. Get how to sort stuff. Maybe something like that. Okay, so I mean, yeah, and then maybe reverse. So this keeps things still at O of n log n, because this is just real stuff. Okay, well, is that fair enough? I guess so. But okay. So while we have cookies, well, I should not sure this. Right, let me do something like this maybe, so that we can. My dashboard app is a little working, so if you're leaving comments and I'm a little slow, it's my bad. Okay. How do And I forget how to. Mm-hmm. Is there a peak? No, I guess we just. I guess this is the peak. Oh, guess we should keep a count. Maybe something like that. Well, that's not right. Cookie should be 1. Did I do the wrong array? Oh, this is right. Okay. Well. Oh. Huh. This is funky. I guess. This probably. Okay. Well. Am I thinking of the wrong one? Maybe pop 0. Oops. All right. Huh. Maybe I was thinking of another function that it's been a little confusing. My bad. But it seems okay. Excuse me. Yeah. So this seems pretty straight. I mean, being a little rusty on the Python syntax aside, this seems pretty okay. But let's test another one. Okay, so that looks good. Now let's try some edge cases with 0 and ooh, okay, fine. Wait a few seconds. That looks okay. Okay, so that looks okay. Let's cross my fingers and yeah. Okay, so that works pretty okay. So greed seems to work. I mean, uh, I think the tricky thing around this problem is that I think one thing that I've always said is that the tricky thing with greedy problems is that you have to prove yourself correct. And I think for this one, some of it is, like I said earlier, is a little cheating slash meta, and that like since it's easy, it's probably greedy. If I didn't know that ahead of time, it wasn't an interview, obviously, I wouldn't know that ahead of time. I would probably think a little bit about trying proving myself that greedy works. And I think greedy works in this case because at each decision tree, if you will, which is at each point in which you're deciding whether, like, given a cookie, you're deciding who to give the cookie to, and it almost always is. Well, I mean, not almost always. It always is better to give it to the person to higher greed because that leaves as many possibilities for different decisions further down the line. Uh, I mean, I think now that I said that, I could convince myself. It's one of those things where, like, well, I mean, you can convince yourself of everything after you submit it and it's correct, right? So I'm not super kind of confident about that answer. But yeah, but otherwise, I mean, I think that's just me having trouble with greedy farms in general. A lot of it for me is personally is that it's a little bit hand wavy because some of it is intuition and some of it is just intuition based off a lot of these experiences. It's a problem it's an interview problem that as an interviewer, I don't know how much I like this problem. I mean, like I said, I would have to like I would have to ask the person I'm interviewing, like, hey, how do you know it's greedy? How would you prove it? And these things are always kind of tricky and maybe slightly more mathematical in the than like algorithm y maybe. I don't know. That's just my preference. So I think for me, I wouldn't have asked this question. And also, greed is one of those things where like maybe not all the time per se, but in some of the cases, like yeah, if you guess greedy and it's right, then you breeze through the problem. But sometimes there are a lot of dynamic programming type E questions where you guess or you don't guess that it's greedy, but then well you don't you make the assumption that it's greedy, or you just don't trust that it's greedy, and then you end up doing things the long way. And I feel like it for me, and it feels like it penalizes people who think about it a little bit deeper. So in that sense, I don't know if I would like this problem, but in terms of like the level of difficulty, I guess it's fine. I mean, I solved this one relatively quickly, so I guess given an hour, we can work things through, and as long as you have a reasonable interviewer who is able to kind of go back and forth and kind of have a great understanding of this problem and be like, oh, okay, but why isn't it greedy? Why is it greedy? And like try to convince them and work through it together. Then maybe it's an okay problem. But I personally would have chosen some as an interviewer. I like things that are slightly easier for me to kind of like let the other person drive in a more natural way and not like me doing it the entire time. But okay, cool. Okay, I mean, I think that's all I have to say about this one. It is greedy, so